Please welcome to the stage our event co-chairs and RFK Community Alliance board members, Emma Carpenter and John Boyle.
I feel like
Do you want to borrow the shoes?
No, I feel like I need a little.
We're going to get
Seriously, I didn't think of that. I did not.
We're going to get him a step. It's okay.
It's so bad right now.
I did this in my last presentation. I did offer my shoes, but they didn't really. And to be honest with you, how many people had a problem tonight having to get the shoes out of the wardrobe again and realize that actually these damn things are really uncomfortable? So first of all, welcome. We are incredibly pleased to be back here in person. It really is an honor to see so many of you here to celebrate tonight, not only the agency that we work with, the RFK Alliance, Community Alliance, which we merged recently, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the evening, but the amazing work that the agency does for children in need across Massachusetts and actually across certainly the US and in parts of the world as well. So more to come on that. But look, John and I are going to be up on stage, up and down, basically, to come and take you through the evening as quickly as...
I'm just following you.
Yeah, he's following me, so that's fine. I actually think they deliberately did it so we can get some more steps in so that we can eat more during the meal. So just so you know that that's why we've got to get up and down all the time. But look, seriously, we're going to celebrate some amazing people tonight, which is an incredible opportunity to talk about some of the amazing work that some of you have done, certainly in the US and here in Massachusetts. As you can tell from the accent, I don't actually
South Boston.
Yeah, South Boston. Yeah, exactly. When I check into a hotel, I have to change my accent, because when I say carpenter, nobody understands what I mean. So if I go carpenter, that sort of makes sense, okay? But anyway, when I first came to the US 10 years ago, the first person through my door was Mary Boyle, John's wife, to welcome us to the US. And I tell you, there's nothing like when someone comes and opens their doors and welcomes you in. And then I met John. And I will tell you that when I met John, I suddenly, everything that I thought was true about the American kind of culture, loud and proud was Mr. Johnny Boyle.
Well, thank you. I love it. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Emma. And we just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. This is an important night. You don't get the chance. I was talking to Aaron, Jay Calnan's significant other, and I said, you don't get a chance in life to celebrate wonderful people. You sort of say, oh, that guy's a good guy, and that woman's a great woman, but this is an opportunity to celebrate wonderful people, and for the people under 30 in the room, it's a great education, and frankly, 59, it's a great education for me to learn what I can possibly try to become and be instructed by. So tonight, Robert Kennedy's legacy, embodied the remarkable honorees that we have. Ed Kelley, who I just saw, Superintendent Nora Baston, Ned Loughran, Secretary Marylou Sudders, and my great friend Jay Calnan. You're being honored tonight because I thought, well, why? Because you're outstanding. You're outstanding human beings. And let's give them a round of applause. And, I think that you embody what, Robert F. Kennedy's legacy, was all about. You fight for people without a voice. You bring important issues to light. You make kids and families, certainly Team Impact, feel special. And you stand up for what's right. This is an exhibit of moral courage time and time again. So I'm humbled to be here tonight to honor these people. If we raise a little money, that'd be pretty good too, but it's really to honor these people, truly. That's why we're here, to just slow down, rush to get to the JFK Library, and chill out for a little bit and learn about how and why special people do special things. And that can be a great instruction, I said, to us all. With all that said, there's a lot of troubling things that are occurring out there. But RFK Community Alliance, we serve 2,000 people every year, mostly children, right here in Massachusetts. We serve thousands through our National Resource Center, which assists local, state, national leaders. We specialize in treating people that have experienced trauma, that have struggled with acute mental health conditions, that learn differently, that have ended up vulnerable through positions no fault of their own. Teenage girls that have been sexually trafficked, youth that have been abused or neglected. I was talking about this earlier tonight. Where do those people, what happens to those people? Young man, maybe, he gets abused by his father sexually, a young woman, and the father goes to jail. What happens to the kid? Does he go back to the public high school next week? Got to think about those things. And that's what this organization does. It remembers those that might be forgotten. So I would be remiss not to just say that we're very grateful for the Kennedy family and their support and their commitment, which has never, ever veered off from Robert F. Kennedy. I'd like to give applause to the Kennedy family for their commitment to helping children, helping people in need. Matt and Joe Kennedy have served on the board. Matt's been just a great leader. Joe, again, serving the needs of children and those kids in needs. It's just really been an important alliance and service organization that is here tonight. So, without further ado, I do want to introduce just a really, really good person and a leader, and someone that really, really cares about children, and Robert F. Kennedy's grandson, Joe Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody. One of the cardinal rules of events like this I learned from my grandmother a long time ago is if you ever stand between people and food, you are standing in the wrong place. So eat. Please eat. John, you are one of a kind, my friend. They broke the mold with you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your friendship. Just thank you. Truly grateful. It goes without saying, folks, if you don't know him, you figured that out pretty quickly, and with Emma too. This organization simply would not be the place it is without people like John Boyle and Emma Carpenter. A huge thank you to you both for your leadership tonight and for bringing us all together. And echoing their remarks, everybody, welcome to the Kennedy Library and to a very special evening. To every sponsor that's here, you should take an awful lot of pride in the role that you play in helping to lift up the lives of vulnerable children around our Commonwealth. It is truly a pleasure to be with all of you tonight. And before I go any further, I just want to thank the entire Robert Kennedy Community Alliance team for their hard work and for a job that at times can reward the soul while testing the spirit. From our extraordinary CEO and Michael Ames to the overnight residential staff, every single member of this team does the Lord's work every day to make our Commonwealth and our country a better place, one child at a time. Please join me in thanking them. I also want to acknowledge Police Commissioner Michael Cox, who is with us this evening, although I did not see him. There he is. Commissioner, thank you. Please. Commissioner, your personal story of perseverance and redemption is inspiring. We are grateful to have you here after you had every reason to give up on Boston. Thank you for being with us tonight. To all those who work in human services and to those who support them, you certainly don't have to be told about the toll that this pandemic has taken on people who are living on the margins of hope. The impact of the virus, not to mention staffing challenges that it brought, have stretched resources and capacity to a breaking point. In spite of it all, the Robert F. Kennedy Community Alliance has managed to survive this crisis with an even stronger renewal of purpose and conviction. We all read just earlier this week how a pandemic has devastated education achievement across our country. Child poverty is up. Mental health crises have skyrocketed. Food and housing insecurity has increased. Many children in our state are at risk of shivering in their beds this winter. Poverty, hunger, hopelessness. These were the burdens that my grandfather sought to lift from the backs of the poor and children during his crusading years in the United States Senate and his final campaign. He tried mightily to change the tide of history, to send out ripples of hope and improve the odds that children born in blight might rise to a brighter future. A few weeks before he died, Robert Kennedy was asked by journalist David Frost how he would like to be remembered. My grandfather paused for a moment, and he spoke softly. Quote, "I think back to what Camus wrote about that perhaps this world is a world in which children suffer, but we can lessen the number of suffering children. And if we do not do this, then who will do this?" I'd like to feel that I had done something to lessen that suffering. His call and his challenge were answered by people we honor tonight. People like our great friend Phil Johnston, who founded the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps in his memory. Public servants like Boston Police Superintendent Nora Baston. A skilled advocate, mentor, relationship builder who continues to put the city of Boston kids first in all that she does through her groundbreaking work in community policing. By advocates like Ned Loughran, another one of Phil's disciples, who believed in kids, who found themselves off track and fought vigorously to prove to everyone else that they were worthy of investment rather than incarceration. Please. By leaders like Secretary Marylou Sudders, who spent her entire career improving the number and quality of services available to the most vulnerable friends and neighbors across our Commonwealth. Marylou, thank you. By dedicated citizens like Jay Calnan, who do not take no, not now, or maybe later for an answer, and build a nonprofit that enriches lives and forges friendships for kids that might otherwise be left without a chance. Thank you, Jay. And by individuals like Ed Kelley, our first award recipient tonight. Ed spent his career deeply committed to children in need, from serving in direct care positions to leading the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps for almost as long as I've been alive. No matter the title, he's always the same guy. Kind, down to earth, funny, and always with the kids in our programs. Ed began his career in 1968 in social work with organizations like the YMCA in the city of Cambridge before joining the Children's Action Corps, where he proved one of the most skilled and dedicated frontline workers. He also began developing a deep knowledge of the broader challenges of social work. He moved up the administrative ladder and exercised that knowledge and judgment to expand the organization's services. Over the course of his tenure, RFK tripled its programs, boosted its staffing, dramatically increased its annual budget, and most importantly, extraordinary expansion of the number of children that we served. Folks, tens of thousands of children have better and brighter futures because of Ed Kelley. Ed, thank you for your commitment and your caring, for your dedication and your devotion, for waking up every single darn day and believing that we could be better, and then setting out to prove it, for lessening that suffering and brightening all of our futures. There's no more deserving recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Ed Kelley.
So, W.C. Fields said, never follow a child at a microphone. I'm thinking you shouldn't follow a Kennedy. Joe, that was just absolutely eloquent, and I deeply appreciate it. And I want to echo what John has said. I think sometimes with the Kennedy family, they've been around in my life forever, and generations of, advocating for children and the oppressed, and we sort of almost take it for granted that they're going to be there. So I'd just like to take a minute and say, Joe, Matt, you're here tonight, you're doing it again, and the whole world is better off because of the Kennedy family. So Phil Johnston, who has become a friend, first of all, a mentor, absolutely, and an advisor and a friend. He had this vision of an agency after the death of Robert Kennedy. I'd be quoting Phil if I said, at one point I'd heard him say, the Robert F. Kennedy Action Corps, that was the original name of the agency, was founded on a motion, in which you can probably hear in my voice. And that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. The agency, for every day of my experience in this agency, I was surrounded by people like Phil that have brought not just like, what's good business, how are we going to do this, or how are we going to do that, but how will we make the children we work with have better opportunities, and how will we change the system to be more sensitive and better to those children. And Phil, that basic value, that basic fundamental value of Robert Kennedy's legacy being the driving force in this organization exists today. And you are absolutely one of the most important people in my professional career. Phil, wherever you are, please stand up and let me say hi to you. So Chris Small is here with the Ride the Kids crew, and a few years ago at this very stage, Chris got to roast me a little bit around celebrating my 25 years with the agency. And I was an outreach worker or a community-based street worker. And Chris got a big kick out of calling me a street worker and saying, what were you really doing in those neighborhoods? And what I was doing is trying to find young children, let them know that they had a better path than the ones that they were working with. I worked very closely with the Cambridge Police Department around trying to build relationships between police officers and children, particularly in housing projects in Cambridge. And that led to my applying to be the Deputy Executive Director of the Robert F. Kennedy Action Corps at that time. And I met two people that were key to this. I want to make the point that I don't think there's any such thing as a self-made individual. I'm stealing some of this from another individual, but we all are standing on somebody's shoulders. And if we think back in our careers, we're going to realize that. So I'm standing on Phil's shoulders, and then I meet Don Kerry. He hires me. And I had spent more time in housing projects in courtrooms than I did in boardrooms when I came to the agency. So to say that I was rough around the edges would be a major understatement. You get it, Marylou. Would be a major understatement. On more than one occasion, I managed to put my foot in my mouth around some of these things. Again, driven by a certain amount of passion and emotion around what would be best, you know, for the kids that we were dealing with. But Don, he just was incredibly patient. I used to say that Don could put his hand over a 100-page document and say there's a typo on page 56, right? And I could write a document and have a typo on the first 10 pages, 5 on each page. So, but Don was patient. He brought me through what it was like to work with a board, and when he left several years later, I was bestowed the honor of being executive director. I then spent the next year and a half hiding from the board because I was afraid they were really going to find out who they hired. And, but as I did that, I had the benefit of working with a gentleman by the name of Skip Stook. And Skip was part of the original staff of the very first program that RFK opened in Lancaster. And as a matter of fact, earlier this evening, Skip was the pioneer of RFK going into juvenile justice when he went out to the Westfield Detention Center, which was in total disarray in the 70s, and he stabilized that program, and it was the first detention program in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to receive a license from the Office for Children. And Skip and Dawn are here. If you would stand up, I'd appreciate it. By far, the most inspiring piece of the work was the staff. And some of them, I just met people I haven't seen in 3 or 4 years, and I know I'm going to embarrass you, but if you ever stood in a room with me, ever argued with me, ever debated with me around what we were doing with these children, I'd like you all, I know you're out there, will you all please just stand up and let this group say thank you to you. Come on now, don't be shy. Come on. So I also, I'm 73 years old. I played basketball, Nora, at Notre Dame High in North Cambridge, and then at Suffolk University. And 2 of my high school teammates are here with me tonight. So Dave DeGoo, Bill Duffy, if you'd please stand up, I very much appreciate it. I do have to admit that between the three of us, that was 150 pounds ago. So but the staff of the agency is the bottom line. And the staff work in facilities that the public don't see. They're tucked away in Lancaster and Westboro and whatever. So the common citizen has no idea of what it's like to work an overnight shift with 8 emotionally disturbed children who sometimes wake up and say, somebody? And then the next morning, that kid bites you. So these staff work in unbelievably challenging situations, and because of where they are and the way that they're tucked away, we don't see them, and because we don't see them, we don't appreciate them. They are underappreciated, and they are definitely underfunded. And one of my great regrets in my career is that I did not do more to help change that situation. That there still needs to be child welfare reform where the professionals working in this field receive a compensation that allows them to send their children to college. And that's not the case. That's not the case right now. So let me close by comparing 2 previous legacy honorees and 2 personal heroes of mine. One of the great benefits of being the CEO of RFK is I got to meet some of the people that worked with and knew RFK. And one of them was Rafer Johnson. And Rafa was actually with RFK the night that he was attacked. And he shared with me later, as I got to know Rafa, a little aside. Rafa's a Southern California guy. So he came to one of Ethel's tournaments dressed in like shorts and whatever in October, you know. So I gave him a hat, a Boston Red Sox hat, and said, here, you can have this, don't worry about it. And I lent him a pair of sweatpants. When it was over, Rafa said to me, I'm keeping the hat. And 2 weeks later, he sent me a Mighty Ducks hat from LA saying that this was more appropriate for me than the Boston Red Sox hat. So I really got to know Rafa a little bit and share his sense of humor. He was a fierce competitor, but one of the most gentle spirits I've ever met in my life. He, after the death of Robert Kennedy, he shared this with me personally. I'm positive he would be comfortable with this. He went home and was just frozen in place. He didn't know quite what it is he wanted to do. And again, I'm making this point because it's about legacy. So when the doorbell rang, it was Eunice Kennedy Shriver, and she said to Rafa, I'm paraphrasing Rafa, he would not expect this from you. He would not expect this from you. So Eunice and Rafa went on to found the Special Olympics. And Rafa confided in me later that he felt that Robert Kennedy challenged him, you know, after he had passed, that legacy was that powerful. Don Rodman, I got to meet Don. We're going down to do a well-known businessman, very generous, riding down to meet him to talk about the Ride for Kids. And we get into his office, and I begin my spiel, and he says, well, I know all about you. What is it? How much do you want? Put me right back on my heels. I had no idea what to say. And then he asked again. I said, $5,000. He said, fine. And I went, I could have had 10. I could have easily had 10. Well, these two gentlemen, a Jewish man growing up in Dorchester with a single parent, and a black man growing up in San Bernardino, 3,000 miles apart, all had part of their core values, Robert Kennedy, the legacy of Robert Kennedy. And the result of that is that the Ride for Kids, which I'm incredibly proud to be part of, has raised over $120 million for children in the greater Boston and the Massachusetts area. In Theater for Kids has taken over 75,000, I have that right, Jen? 75,000 children from the inner city to the theater. And those kids would never have seen that without Don Rodman, that inspiration. These two gentlemen did not know each other, but they shared that value, that Robert Kennedy legacy value. And so I want to say to you, it's my honor to be here this evening to receive this award. It was more my honor to sit, quite honestly, to be able to get up every morning and say, damn, I'm the CEO of RFK. Thank you all very much.
You know the measure of a man by when he talks about everybody else except for himself. Ed, honestly, I had the pleasure of joining this agency because of you and the amazing work that you did and letting me come in to be part of this. You are an incredible individual. You have done so much for so many people over the years, and honestly, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. A standing ovation isn't enough for the things that you've done. Thank you. And he's a sweetheart, which is always great. Now, I get to introduce the next person now, who is actually our board chair, a very good friend of mine, and I will tell you, someone that's also relentless in the focus of what he can do to help support those kids out there. He is also a 2021 Legacy Award winner, and we didn't get the opportunity to thank him in person for all the things that he does for this agency as the chair, but also many other charities out there. He, honestly, no rock will be overturned if Jim is involved. He's an incredibly relentless individual. He's a lot of fun too. Please join me in welcoming to the stage and congratulating him for his 2021 Legacy Award, Jim Garrity.
Emma, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It looks so great looking out at this room and seeing everyone here. What an amazing group of honorees. And Ed, I want to repeat what Joe said. You're 35 years leading the RFK Children's Action Corps programs and relationships that you built and nurtured. The kids you supported and the organizations you grew were just remarkable. The entire board is unbelievably thankful to you, Ed Kelley. The RFK Community Alliance is really special to me. We don't just make sure that a child is safe enough, we make sure the child is healthy, mentally and physically. We work with the children, with families, and the communities to build connections, skills, and their ability for future success. We are compassionate and collaborative, and to make sure that a child is going to have the best chance for a happy and healthy life. As a kid, my family didn't have a lot. My mom and dad worked hard. They were great parents and offered me a lot of guidance. But I also had many mentors that helped me along the way with guidance and advice. And those mentors really made all the difference for my path forward. Now I am a father, a coach, a mentor, and a community leader. I am able to pay it forward. I chose to serve on the Robert Kennedy Community Alliance Board because I believe we are helping kids across a variety of programs. I want to be part of that, and I want to thank each of you for being part of that as well. I also want to take a moment to recognize the RFK Community Alliance team. If you will, please, all the staff members of the RFK Community Alliance, please stand up so we can recognize for all the hard work that you do. We are a strong organization capable of supporting people in need because of each of you. Your hard work and resilience, your patience and expertise, thank you really for all you do. I want to thank Michael Ames for your leadership, consistency, and thoughtfulness as we navigated this important merger. An impossible pandemic, a staffing crisis, and a steep increase in the need for our services over these last few years. I now have the pleasure of sharing a bit of our path over the last few years about our organization's histories and our current work through this video. Please enjoy this video.
Why bring two organizations with rich histories together?
For me, the opportunity for the RFK Action Corps to work with Perkins creates an amazing opportunity for the future. The Action Corps focuses on the kids and the families that need the most amount of help.
And so, yes, it's about, as Matt said, investing in the present to provide for that bright future that every child deserves.
Times have changed. Many of the children live at home. They live in their communities. Our services have changed. And I think we're able to provide for them state-of-the-art services. So with the merger, I think it offers the next natural step to spread that wealth of services, if you will.
So I'm really hoping that they can learn better skills to handle situations differently when they leave us. And you come in, they don't want to be there. They hate everyone. They have with reason. They've been through some things that I can't even imagine. But we're there to support them. And when they leave, they can use those skills to be successful.
We meet them where they're at. We find ways to support them, help them get the supports and services they need to find a pathway forward, to really be the best that they can be and be successful in life as well.
It's a very excellent school, and I've made many friends, and I've had a great time being able to see teachers that care about me. They help me settle down, help me learn. They help me get along with others.
When a child actually realizes that they had what they needed when they got to you, so it's not something that can be taken away when they leave, or by the next challenge they might face in their life, that's an incredibly powerful thing.
It's about the kids, the adults that we work with, maximizing our impact, achieving our mission, which is really to focus on meaningful and sustained well-being for everybody that we work with, and that's our goal.
Are you carrying out your mission? Are you helping people? That to me is the bottom line.
Combined, we are a much stronger organization. We are enhancing our training for those staff. We are enhancing the programs that we can provide, our ability to meet the kids, the adults that we work with where they're at, and develop new programs as needed.
That right there is why this place is so special to me. Kids like Gianna. Now, I have the great pleasure of introducing a really amazing woman and a good friend of mine, and I'm proud to know you, Nora. Superintendent Nora Baston of the Boston Police Department. Nora is a remarkable officer and a community leader. She was a talented student athlete in high school at Boston Latin, and a college star at UMass Lowell, where she not only learned to be a better athlete, but also a teammate and a mentor and a coach. Early in her career as an officer, she began showing up shooting hoops with neighborhood kids across the city. And throughout her career, she used basketball and her deep community connections to help build trust with people throughout Boston. She has also built and led innovative programs that have improved police and community relations. She rose quickly in the force's leadership ranks and is credited with influencing an entire generation of officers to build relationships and trust in their communities. And through those programs, provide mentorship, empowerment, and opportunities, resources, skills, and mental wellness for Boston youth. She has made sure that thousands of Boston youth know her name and feel comfortable with her and the other officers. Superintendent Baston is only the fourth woman appointed to that rank in the Boston Police Department's history. And from 2018 to early this year, she built and led the city's Bureau of Community Engagement, leading the community initiatives and events that have made such a huge impact on the city of Boston. Today, Superintendent Baston is the chief of the Bureau of Professional Development. In this role, she helps train and mentor rookie officers. She continues to create pathways into the community through initiatives like Women in Blue. Outside the Boston Police Department, Superintendent Baston is a member of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the Massachusetts Association of Women in Law Enforcement, the FBI National Academy Association, and the Massachusetts Association of Minority Law Enforcement Officers. In addition, she sits on the board of the Municipal Police Training Committee in the Boston Area Church League and works closely with the Boys and Girls Club and the Martin Richard Foundation. Nora's passion, expertise, and commitment to women and girls and her diligence make her an obvious choice for this award and really honors the legacy of Robert F. Kennedy, who believed that each and every one of us is responsible for leaving this world a better place. Nora, I am so proud to honor you today with the Embracing the Legacy Award for all that you have done and all that you will do in the coming years. Thank you for your amazing contribution to this city and beyond. Nora, please join me on the stage. I think we'll go over here.
Make sure we have the right glasses. Getting old now. Good evening. I first want to thank Jim Garrity for nominating me. Jim has been a supporter since we've met, and our relationship over time has turned into a friendship that I value. Thank you so much, Jim. I also want to thank the CEO, Michael Ames, and the RFK Community Alliance. I had the pleasure of meeting the other honorees a few weeks ago, and what an amazing group of people. Congratulations to everyone tonight, and also the past honorees. To the Kennedy family, it is such an honor to receive this award in your family's name and all that it represents. Let me take you back 40 years. My mother, Nora, worked at the Bank of Boston on Marcy Boulevard, right down the street from where we are tonight. She worked the midnight shift so she could be present for us during the day. She came home every morning exhausted, made me and my two sisters breakfast, did our hair, and got us ready for school. She slept while we were at school, woke up when we got home from school, helped us with our homework, made us dinner, and then went back to work just to do it all over again. She did this her entire life. My mom was my #1 champion. She was the one person who made me feel like I could be whatever I wanted and to be the best at it. She believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. She made me feel smart and loved. My mom passed away of cancer in my arms when I was a sophomore in college. My life literally stopped, and I lost all hope. I gave up. I didn't believe that I had the strength to live without her. If it wasn't for my teammates at UMass Lowell women's basketball team, I would not be standing here tonight. They stepped in during the hardest time of my life. They wrapped their arms around me and gave me the strength to go back to college and make something of myself. They stayed by my side, making sure that I never felt alone. They were my mentors and role models who gave me all the tools I needed to be successful. The tools that eventually made me rise to the ranks of the BPD. When I think about what I hope my legacy is, I think about everything that was taught to me by my mom and my teammates. Dedication, hard work, teamwork, perseverance, self-motivation, and selflessness. It is also my hope that I have successfully represented these values in my work by being present for those in their time of need, by inspiring the youth to believe in themselves, to being their biggest cheerleader and pushing them to persevere, by giving them hope when life feels hopeless, and by being a role model and mentor, teaching them the skills that they need to be successful. I hope that I have passed on to the Boston community and to my officers the legacy that was passed on to me. Because my journey is proof that you can succeed even when the odds are against you. This award means so much to me because it represents my mom and what she has instilled in me. It represents my basketball team and how they saved me. It represents a team of dedicated officers and civilians in the Boston Police Department who also have worked tirelessly to support the community. It represents how I plan to mold and inspire the next generation of recruits at the Boston Police Academy. It represents everything my mom and my teammates have taught me and the values that I have lived by and built my career upon. In 1 month, it will be 30 years since my mom has passed. But her legacy lives through me, my work, my officers, and through the youth and their families. Mommy, I hope I have made you proud. This award is for you. Thank you.
I think Boston is going to be just fine. Nora Baston. Let's give a hand. All these fine officers right here. Let's give a hand for them. Boston. I see Chip Batchelder. The PAL board is here. We're pretty lucky to live in this city with people like Nora. It's my great honor to introduce, when the RFK was thinking of possibly merging. We were trying to merge, and I told Jim Garrity and the gentleman I'm going to introduce, Bob Watson, that we needed the triple bank shot. I said, you can't, what's the triple bank shot? I said, well, it's got to hit, and then it's got to hit. If we can do this perfectly, it's like 1 in 100 times we can do this deal. And Bob Watson did it. He hit the triple bank shot. He's a caring, warm, wonderful human being, and if we could all be better like Bob Watson, we'd be special people. Ladies and gentlemen, the legend, Bob Watson.
I still have no idea what the triple bank shot is. Maybe Nora can tell me. I guess she played some basketball, but my name is Bob Watson, and at the risk of being chastised later, I'm going to make a small deviation from the program. And I tell you this in advance because it was drilled into my head that we were to stick to the program. If my mother was here, she'd be screaming, "See." Lee Mahoney, could I ask you to stand? Stay standing, Lee. It's okay. You're going to be embarrassed just for a few seconds. Lee is leaving next week. She's leaving RFK after, I think, some 25 years of working with everyone at RFK. And she's an outstanding individual whose dedication and professionalism is above reproach. She has worked with our kids for years with kindness and empathy. She epitomizes what Bobby Kennedy stood for. And she'll be missed but not forgotten. Could I ask you all to join me in a round of applause for Lee? Lee is still supposed to be standing, by the way. And as she sets off to the future, we have a small gift of flowers, and she leaves with our thanks. Lee, there you go. Now on to Ned Loughran. preparing my remarks, I thought to myself how Ned may feel if he was here tonight. I was honored to speak about him at a dinner a few weeks ago, and I tried to explain myself as if I was him. Ned was Maria's husband. Maria's here. Sean's father. Sean's going to be coming up in a couple of minutes. They're both here tonight. And here with us tonight are Jerry and Joe, Ned's brothers from New York, and their spouses. Ned was a friend to Laurie and I. Also with us tonight is Rich Barty, Ned's best friend. And let me see if I get this right. Ned's 3 sister-in-laws and 1 brother-in-law and their spouses. So Ned's well represented here tonight. In the world of human services, Ned was a force to be reckoned with. I know former Commissioner Forbes is here, and he worked with Ned for many years. Peter Forbes is sitting at the table there. He spent his entire life helping others. And up till the day he died, he worked to be helpful to others. When Ned first came to Massachusetts many years ago, he was a major irritation to me. He kept moving into apartments with many flights of stairs and no elevators. And he never considered giving a red cent to a moving company. We talked a lot back then, and he always talked about Bobby and Jack Kennedy. And he talked about that whole idea that people would do service for their whole life to others. And that's what Ned did, and he did it for the rest of his life. He'd be thrilled by this award, and although he received many awards, this is one that I feel he would think was quite special. His family asked that I thank Michael Ames and the RFK Community Alliance Board of Directors for honoring him with this prestigious award. And we want to also thank and recognize all in this room who worked with Ned during his career. Now I'm going to ask Sean, Ned's son, to come forward and accept the award on his dad's behalf. You all should know in advance that Sean is a Yankees fan. You remember them. All right, the Loughrans can go back to New York now. You'll remember that team as the one who got swept 4 games by the Astros just last week. And it's also important for you to know that Ned was a hardcore Red Sox fan. Thank you to everybody here tonight for supporting this great agency, and we hope you have a wonderful evening.
Good evening. Although the Yankees did get swept in 4 games, the Red Sox have been golfing since probably June or so. Close. Well, thank you so much, Bob, for the wonderful recognition of my dad and his legacy and his work, and then your friendship as well through the years. I also want to extend my congratulations and admiration for Ed Kelley. That Lifetime Achievement Award is incredible, and also the fellow honorees that are here tonight as well. It's truly an honor and a privilege to accept this esteemed award on behalf of my dad, who embodied late Senator Robert F. Kennedy's vision that every child in this country live as we would want our own child to live. I would do anything to have him here tonight to do this himself, but 5 years ago this month, he lost his battle with cancer. And he literally worked until the day he died. He passed away on October 14th, and his retirement date was supposed to be October 21st. And this was his passion. This is what he did. He loved it, and he loved every minute of it. And if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, and that's exactly how he felt. Late Senator Kennedy was my dad's hero, and my dad was mine. My mom and I are deeply proud of my dad's work and the lasting impact that he had on juvenile justice system. I also want to thank and recognize my aunts, uncles, friends, and my dad's colleagues who are here tonight. I'm grateful to the Robert F. Kennedy Community Alliance for hosting this event and its mission to protect our community's most vulnerable children and families. Thank you.
Wow, some incredible people we are recognizing tonight. Here's the good news, you get to eat now. Please enjoy.